All right, everyone. How are you doing? It is the last day of the year. Hit the horn. Man, we are going out of 2025. We are going into 2026. This is our New Year's Eve podcast. Am I getting a late start tonight? I might be getting a late start tonight. I might be. We're going to start a little bit earlier. All right. Everything is going good. We're going to start a little earlier. And then, you know, I was cooking today, right? So I had to get my cook on, had to put my feet in it, both feet in it. And, it turned out pretty good, according to Mr. McGrew. So not only did I make black eyed peas and rice, but I made some collard greens, some cornbread, turned out really good. So, hey there, Kelly. Man, it's good to see you. How you doing, Kelly? How you doing? How's your year been? We miss you up there. Hopefully you're doing well. This is our New Year's Eve broadcast. We want to give people an alternative, to maybe being out partying, drinking, drugging, not pulling in and pulling into the new year in a new way, pulling into the new year in the old way. We want to give them an option to, maybe change that stinking thinking. Get a brand new start. Now, not that you need a certain day for a brand new start. You can get a brand new start any way you want to, right? You could start right now. You could start tomorrow. You could have started yesterday. All right? You could start in the middle of the week. It doesn't matter. However, to most of us on the planet, this signifies something significant and special. And therefore, this is a chance for you to say, you know what? It's December 31st, 2025 is gone. 2026 is here. I'm going to turn a new leaf. I'm going to start doing something different, and I'm going to change direction. This year's been a little wild. All right. Oh, really? How are you liking being back with inpatient? It's definitely a win for the folks that you're engaged with. So that's a big deal for sure. So we're appreciative of that. They are definitely winning for those that are getting your expertise and your love and care. So definitely appreciate that. What we're going to do over the next hour is kind of do what I always do, right? We can get a brand new start in every moment. Absolutely. What I want to do is kind of reflect on 2025, what we did, what went well, what didn't go so well, what we could have done different. And look at 2026 and look at our goals, see what we want to continue doing more of, how we want to pivot and switch up, right? You guys know I have a saying where I don't lose, I never lose. I either win or I learn. My L is the learning opportunity. It's not a losing opportunity. So I hope that maybe you can adopt that and say, you know what? I'm not going to lose. I'm either going to win or I'm going to learn. And man, there's always something that we can learn. I'm a lifelong learner. Happy New Year to you. And so we're going to go through it and just kind of talk about those things that we tried to do in 2025. And one of the first ones, and shout out to Councilwoman Jane Robolowski, first and foremost for this one, is we were trying to get Safe Park going this last year. And man, it just didn't seem like there was any way to make that happen. We couldn't really find churches or other institutions that were, game to, make their space open for a safe park. There's lots of different rules and things that have to happen and potential liabilities and everything else. So, that has been a difficult one to get off the ground. And so that is one where we've learned we need to definitely pull together some more folks that are like-minded in that way and try to figure it out. I know Jane even went to Kitsap Transit and spoke to them as a regular citizen and said, hey, you've got these parking rides. It'd be a great spot for a safe park for folks that are unhoused. Families could park there, just a few cars here or there that can take off the burden. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but for those of us in Bremerton, Washington, Our homelessness crisis is continuing to be a problem, to be an issue. And right now, there's not a lot in the way of political will to solve that problem, right? Unfortunately, a lot of that is it's on another entity, right? It's not the job of, let's say, the council. It's not the job of the mayor. It's the job of the nonprofits. So everyone is saying it's someone else's job and responsibility. But ultimately, it's all our responsibilities. One, as humans, and two, as American citizens, and three, we're here in this county as county residents, and then two, as city residents, right? So um, it's all of our responsibility ultimately. And I've said it 1,000 times, right? We're the richest nation in the history of mankind, and there is no reason for us to have homelessness. Um, we just have to decide whether or not we're going to prioritize our unhoused, right? There's a lot of mental illness, there's drug use, there's alcohol use, and a lot of those things end up coming because of being unhoused, right? And the longer that you're unhoused, uh, and the phrase that folks like to use is no fault of your own, right? You lose a job, you have a health issue, and you lose your home, whatever happens, and you find yourself maybe staying with friends and family, then you're couch surfing, then you're living in your car, and then you're literally on the street. However you get there, the longer you are there, the longer you're in despair, the longer that it feels like there is no hope, um, the easier it is for you to look to some other things to manage and to get by. You know, Imagine being unhoused and having chronic health issues or chronic pain, like I do. Uh, I could see it being really easy to look at illicit drug use to ease my pain, both mentally and physically. And so that's tough, right? If you are coming out of jail or prison and you have bad credit or no credit, hell, you don't even have to go to jail or prison to have bad credit, right? You can just be trying to survive here in low wage jobs, and that can be problemsome, right? And so now there's so many other renters that look good, and we are a high rental town here, that it's going to be hard for you to get a place. Maybe you got an eviction. So you got an eviction, you got bad credit, you need first, last, and deposit, right? The going rate right now is about $1,000 per room. So if you want a two-bedroom house, you're getting up there to about $2,000 on average. It's pushing. That's tough to do. So how do you do that? How do you get ahead to even tread water? And that's the thing. So if you can't even get to the point of getting to baseline, then you're just constantly sinking down as things continue to rise up. So, those things are tough. And so the safe park was one of the things that, we weren't able to get going, this year. A lot of good people on that, Anton from Northwest Hospitality and Jane, as I said before, some, good folks were working on that and just couldn't make that happen. I don't know what's going to happen in 2026. But the thing is that you want to continue to push on things, but then you also need to pivot and look at other things too. And sometimes you can do multiple things at the same time to address the issues, right? And look at those things. So, that's one of them. A big one, and we'll get to those. I'll tell you, most of you know who are watching that I decided to run for mayor this year. That was crazy. That wasn't in the plans. If you watched this broadcast or the broadcast last year at this time, I didn't say anything about running for mayor. Did I say anything about running for mayor? You didn't hear that because I think she watched it earlier. Like, nah, we didn't. Marwan said nothing about talking running for mayor, right? However, what ended up happening was um, the the two candidates had already started running, and it wasn't the filing deadline yet. And I just started receiving emails, phone calls, text messages, instant messages, uh, just from all walks of life, asking me to run. And they felt like the two candidates that were there weren't representative of their needs and what they wanted, and they wanted to see change. They felt like the two candidates were very similar. Not going to rehash any of that, but yeah, I had no intention on running for mayor, and I had some other things that were in the works, and And so that was not it. And so Juneteenth was coming up on us, and this year was the first year that G2 covered the insurance for Juneteenth down at Evergreen Park. It was a blast. It was a great success. My daughter loved it this year. She came down and tried to eat all the chicken sandwiches. Oh, she devoured 4 of them. She's a pig. Layla, you're a pig, girl. If you're listening, you're a pig. She tore it up. She tore it up. That's my daughter, though. She's a Cameron. She got that Cameron appetite, which I love. And so we had a good time doing that. But so I ended up running for mayor. And as you know, in 2023, I ran for city council, and I lost by, I can't remember what it was, like less than 60 votes on that. Uh, and that was good. And what was good about that was, one, I didn't know anything about running for office, what that, uh, what the rules are, what you needed to do, how to go about it. I started off, I didn't even have a campaign manager. I mean, I was out in the wilderness for sure. And I tore my meniscus, couldn't door knock, which is really weird because that kind of hit me again. So you guys see me walking around, you'll see me with a cane, especially if I'm on stairs right now. But hopefully that will be taken care of here in a month or two, as soon as I can get in, get my shots and all my good stuff in my knees, and take care of those issues. However, that wasn't it. But it was good to run for city council to not only understand the process, but for the people that I interact with. Most of us don't know much about politics, right? And would never have even dreamed about running for office, right? Most of us, or many of us, I won't say most, many felt like I don't know enough. I don't deserve to be there. I'm not qualified. These are the things that I heard, right? And so it was really good in 23 to run for city council. And so when, all the folks had come to me and said, would you please run? And I'm talking about a myriad of issues, whether it was um, the unhoused, whether it was transportation, or it was advocating for the Black community, whether it was advocating, you name it, right? Food insecurity, healthcare, all of it, right? I heard from someone from every sector that please run. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and do this. But I had to pray about it. I was like, well, let me pray on it and let me think about it. That wasn't in the plan. If you're going to do something like that, you do need to take it seriously. And so I did that. And what I came up with was, we had just come off of the presidential election. And this is probably what the most money that's been spent in an election, on both sides. And people were tapped out. And so I didn't want people's money. I just wanted their vote. And so we ran a campaign of not asking for money, but asking for a vote. And we didn't make it through the primary, but we were instrumental in deciding who was going to be the mayor, as all of our votes were needed in order to unseat the current mayor. And based on things that had transpired, ultimately, we didn't end up backing the other candidate. And so the incumbent ended up winning again. And now he is serving another term. And we'll be back in 2029 to fight the good fight, but with a planned fight. The runner-up, I believe, put in more than $100,000 in this small city. I believe the current incumbent put in more than 50,000. I'm kind of spitballing the numbers now. I wrote an email when I responded to people on that, and I think total I had 6,000 that was put into that campaign, and we did quite well based on coming in late, putting in little money, not door knocking, right? Because again, like I said, my knees and my back just, inexplicably did their thing when they did their thing. However, like I said, what came from that was even more powerful than what came from running for city council. So in city council, for those that don't know, we're broken up in districts, right? And so you can only vote if you live in that district. So when you get your voter ballot, if you're not within that address, you're not going to get a voter ballot to vote for that person. So for city council, for instance, a lot of people wanted to vote for me, and they're like, "Well, you're not on there, right?" Uh, yeah, a good heart is priceless, um, and you have one. It it is tough, right? So folks are like, "Well, where's I don't see your name. I can't vote for you." So that's the first lesson. Well, when you run for mayor, well, it's the entire city, right? But now it's not an unincorporated Bremerton. So that's a new lesson, right? Then another lesson was, well, you know what? There's a primary, and then you have to be one of the top two vote getters in order to get to the general election in November. Well, you would be surprised at the end how many people thought that even though the primary happened and ballots went out and all the campaigning and conversations, they didn't vote during the primary. They were waiting for the general. Well, it's too late now. You had to vote during the primary. There were people that thought, oh, well, I get to vote twice, right? Like it doesn't matter. I can vote in the primary. Didn't matter what I don't know what the thought process on was with that, but I can vote in the primary and I can vote in the general, and it's not going to make a difference. So there were a whole bunch of things that folks that hadn't voted before. I heard things like, I have not voted for anyone other than Obama in my life. That's a powerful statement, right? Very humbling statement. I've heard, I've only voted for you. I voted for you when you ran for city council, and I ran for you when you voted for mayor. That's the only time I've voted in my life. I've heard that by multiple people. And so, what was encouraging about that is we've woke up folks that haven't voted before, that haven't been engaged in local politics. Yes, of course, our news media, our mainstream media tells us, hey, it's the presidential election. That's the big thing. That's what you come out for. But it really is local politics that is the most important. I mean, it's all important, but you live locally. Hey, Kimmy, we don't know a lot about politics. We are learning because we can no longer wait for someone else to save us. We can save ourselves. I support you 1,000,000%. We are strong. We are full throttle ahead. Absolutely. And so that's one of the big things that we're going to be doing here in 2026 is we're going to be educating our residents on what you need to do, what the process is, right? And so again, you either win or you learn, not lose. We didn't lose. It would have been great to be the mayor incumbent and get ready to be sworn in. That's not the case. But what it is we have work to do. And we've come across so many folks that just don't know. You know, you're in survival mode. You're trying to figure out your next day's meal. You're trying to figure out where you're going to get gas to get to work. You're trying to figure out where you're going to sleep tonight. You're trying to figure out how to take care of your kids, whatever the situation is. And so you don't have the bandwidth for more, right? And so that's the big thing that we're working on this year is to educate and then come alongside candidates that we believe are speak our interest and then support them and help them run for office. So we're going to be looking at that in the different city council districts, right? And that's not just Bremerton, right? We're looking at Paulsville. We're looking at Bainbridge Island. We're looking at Port Orchard. We're looking at all the cities, right? We broadcast city council for all the cities here on the conduit. And so if you know a candidate and that candidate may be you, that's like, look, I live here. I don't like how things are going. I would like to see change. Reach out to us because we can support you in your bid to become the next city council person or the next mayor. Start to sit on committees and boards so you can learn how these things work and how these things operate. The way that these folks stay in power, and I'm not going to speak disparagingly about anyone this evening, but the way that folks stay in power is, they got time for that, right? There's this saying, it's like, oh, I'll make time for that, right? And we do that when we got smoke a lot of times. And so we have to have smoke for these things. And it's like, man, I'm too busy. I've got this going on. I can't spare a minute. We have to find the time to spare the minute. right? Whether it's, hey, you know what, we've got to give up that Seahawks game. I know that sounds hard, or the Kraken, that Mariners game, whatever it is we need to do. However, we don't have to do it alone. If there are four of us, all four of us don't have to go to the city council meeting. One of us can go and report back to the group, right? There's powers in divvying up the workload and then bringing that information back to everyone, right? And so we have technology at our fingertips. We can do things a lot faster and a lot more efficient. Uh, and that is what we're going to focus on this year. So please be encouraged. There's a lot of things that are going on. And shout out to Kimmy because she has been just relentless in the street and on social media, pointing out the issues, right? And there have been a few that have been doing that. So that is a huge deal. That's what we need. Now she is a a nurse at Harborview in Seattle, finding time to still do that. I don't know when she sleeps, right? But she can't do it all by herself. She can't do it all by herself. She needs other folks to come alongside and roll their sleeves up and start getting the work done. And one of the best ways we can do that is getting some folks to run, right? And here's the thing, like, this is another thing that I say: power is taken, it is not given. If you're waiting for people to give you power, it will never happen. And so when we look and term after term, year after year, our needs aren't being met, it's because we're asking. Hey, can you please give us porta potties? Can you please give us housing? Can you please create affordable housing? Can you please do X, Y, Z? Whatever the thing that it is that we're asking for, that we're putting our hand out for, we're not receiving, right? And so the only way to receive those things is to become that person in power so that we can make the policies ourselves, right? That are going to be for the people, right? And so it sounds easy, and it could be easy. We just have to believe. That's the first step. Just believe. You have nothing to lose, but you have everything to gain, right? So stay tuned for an onslaught of information coming next year, and trying to encourage people. You know, hey, I've lost, right? Right now, technically, I'm a two-time loser, right? I've lost city council and I've lost the mayoral race, but I've already made it known, right? Oh, you'll see me in 4 years. That's why I didn't put 2025 on my mayor uh, yard signs, because I knew I was getting in late. I knew I was going to put a lot of money in there, and I was starting way behind the eight ball, right? But this was a learning opportunity, uh, and not only for me, but for the community. And a lot of us are woken up, and we just got to make sure that we don't go back to sleep. And if you look at what's happening at the Salvation Army and the overnight shelter, and hopefully that's back. We'll see how that works out, but it sounds like things are promising, right? Those things happen because of the push of you out there, right? Making your voices heard, keeping your foot on the gas, not letting go, right? That was one of the issues when Obama was in office, right? You had all three, you know, the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and you didn't push, didn't push, didn't push, didn't push. It's not enough to elect. You got to keep the work going once you get them in. That's when the real work starts, right? Um, got to learn how they build the barriers in order to learn to take them down. Absolutely. I got to travel the Roman road sometimes. There is a lot of corruption. I will keep bringing it to light. Pressure needs to be applied. I'm good at that. It saves people's lives in my line of work. Yeah, absolutely. We got to speak up. We have to speak out. If we look at where we were, right, and what we're seeing with the shelter, which Salvation Army was never designed to be a shelter to operate in that way, is we have all this COVID money nationwide, right? And everyone is kind of living high off the hog off of this COVID money, and they're able to, you know, dot some I's and cross some T's that haven't been, you know, because there's never enough money, right? But that money was finite and it was running out. And many of us were saying, hey, what are we going to do? This money is going to run out. Homelessness is increasing. Drugs are increasing. The drugs are getting even worse, right? Hmm? Oh, yeah, I'm watching it. Text me. Uh, what's the last thing I said? I got interrupted by my sidekick over here.
The drugs are getting worse.
The drugs are getting worse. All of these things are happening simultaneously, and we know we haven't had the bottom fall out of our economy. We know we're due for a recession, and we just keep hanging on, hanging on, hanging on. And when it hits, the gnashing of teeth are going to be real, and we're already seeing that, right? We saw it really quickly when the furlough happened. So now you have our unhoused brothers and sisters, you have our folks that are experiencing food insecurity, that don't have enough to eat for themselves and their families. They're coming to the food banks, they're coming to have dinner at New Day. Shout out to New Day, right? And other places throughout the city and the county. And then all of a sudden, government stopped. And now those families were, oh man, you should have seen it. You should have seen it. And the heartening thing, the heart piece of it was, shout out to Reverend Stewart of New Day. Saturday, he's at Fred Meyer's, right? And they were just bringing in so much food, right? The people really rallied and just donated so much food. I'll be putting out a commercial for them soon for New Day. And for Thanksgiving, they had so many, well, there must have been 15 tables, all filled with boxes of full Thanksgiving dinners for folks, and they're labeled family of 2, family of 3, family of 4, family of 5 plus, right? And they all got turkeys. They ran out of turkeys, had to go get more turkeys. Man, it was a beautiful thing. But people came together in the community and were just donating and donating and donating. And the store stepped up and gave even more than they normally would give. And so that was really powerful to see, right? On December 23rd, I did bell ringing for the Salvation Army, which I do every year, which I love. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I was told we broke a record. So, that was huge. And that was after Reverend Stewart is here at Fred Meyer's, the same Fred Meyer's, getting food to give to those that need it, right? And so there is a lot of spirit here in this town. We just need to continue to educate and get folks to understand that, whatever you think, uh, whether you just have a big gregarious heart that wants to give and not see anyone hurting, and you just want to give everyone everything, or maybe if you're a type of person where you're like, you know what, they brought it on themselves and they put themselves in a situation they got to dig themselves out. Wherever you find yourself, the part where it comes together, you're this far, right? The part where it connects together is most of us want to be fiscally responsible and use our dollars in the most effective way, right? So we know that it is cheaper to educate someone than it is to incarcerate them, right? And so when we look at things like that, then if we are stabilizing people and providing housing and providing support and providing services, maybe there's requirements for those things for sure. But if you're doing those things, it's actually going to be cheaper than them using the emergency room as their primary care provider, right? It's going to be cheaper than inundating our fine police and fire department with having to go and try to police folks that are unhoused, that are just trying to survive, right? Where they could be out stopping murders and burglaries and other things that really should be their attention, right? That costs money. We have a shortage on our police force, both locally and from the county level. So these things are costing us money. And so when you look at and you say, hey, there's going to be this shelter and this shelter is going to cost $3 million, and oh, where's this money going to come from and whatnot? Well, if we looked at the jails, if we looked at, all of these other hidden ways that money is being spent and wasted because we just won't take them and house them and wrap our arms around them and say, hey, we're going to create this supportive network for you and give you a situation where you don't have to be on drugs and alcohol. You don't have to be sick physically or mentally out in the street, getting worse, right? You don't have to be, again, like I said at the top of the hour, right? I have chronic illness, right? I don't know how long I would make it on the street until I started looking at illicit drug use or alcohol use to relieve my pain. I don't have access to, adequate health care. I don't know how people do it. And a lot of them don't, which is the whole point, right? And this isn't unique to Bremerton. This is a nationwide epidemic, and so we need to get to this. If you remember watching the episode last year, I was talking about, there was talks about a new pandemic, right? It was like I believe COVID and the flu were coming together, and there was something that was maybe getting ready to latch on to us, and we were worried about that. Matter of fact, I watched something yesterday about folks getting sick again off something else that they're calling like the flu COVID something. So we don't know if that's true or not. We got to wait and see if any of those things manifest. But the big thing that is still an epidemic is our homelessness. It's a crisis. It's an issue, uh, and so we have to deal with it. And when you look at AI, and if you're dealing with Chat GPT and Gemini and all the rest, you're seeing how effective it is. If you're looking at different sectors that you find yourself in, maybe you have some survivor's guilt because some of your coworkers are no longer there because, well, AI can do their job, right? Even in the medical field, right? They can just roll in the tablet and the doctor can talk to the patient through the tablet. If you're not just doing a virtual meeting anyway, right? My office visits, every other visit is a virtual visit. So, don't need as much staff if I don't have to go in, right? Self checkout, automated fast food restaurants. These jobs are going away. So, how are people going to survive, right? Kimmy says we have to keep the hybrid shelter talk alive. They're trying to distract, trying to silence. Uh, I have information from credible sources, higher levels of government. They want us to continue our work and stay focused. Political uh, will is gained when people help keep the topic alive. Yeah, absolutely. We do have to keep talking about it. And everyone needs to talk about it. Educate yourself on there. And Kimmy says, exactly. What's better, being addicted in home or being addicted and sleeping on a cement curb? Doesn't take a brilliant mind to answer that question. No. And to Kimmy's point, having conversations about it. Shout out to my doctor. I won't say his name on here, but I got a text from him, and let me see if it's up here. I can read a little bit. Keep it anonymous. So my doctor sends me this text yesterday. Happy New Year's, Marwan. This is my doc. I'm reaching out to you. When you have a few minutes to chat, would you mind calling me? I have a longtime patient who is in her late 70s, sleeping in her car and unable to get affordable housing or complete paperwork. She needs some direction and she needs some help. That's my doctor. And the reason why my doctor is reaching out to me personally, right? He called me, found my cell phone number and called me, right? Because I have conversations about that. So maybe I should be focused on myself because I'm going to see my doctor about me. However, I'm always talking about what I do and the difference that I'm trying to make. And the point is that, now he has an outlet where he didn't feel like he had one before. It's like, well, I don't know how to help you. I'm a doctor, right? Oh, I've got another patient that does actually help people. I can reach out to him. And so, yes, keeping it alive, keeping that conversation going is very powerful, and we need to do that. So that is the point that I wanted to make there. All right, so, a lot of stuff happened this year. January, we had the Martin Luther King event, which we always have. We have another one coming up this year at Fairgrounds. As always, that will be broadcast here on the Conduit. I think this will be our 4th year. So one of the things that I did this year, and G2 and the Conduit, is we were asked to broadcast the Martin Luther King event. Not only that, I ended up moderating the event. So there was a panel, and I was just going to moderate the questions, but unfortunately there was an emergency, and the MC could not MC the event. So I ended up MCing the event and moderating the panel. So pretty cool experience, right? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So that's one of those things. I'm pretty quick on my feet. And so it's like, can you do the whole thing? That person is not here. It's like, yeah. So that was how my January started, and that was pretty cool there. Um, and then of course, Miss Layla has her gymnastics and her basketball, which is always great. And you see me post those things all the time. Happy New Year's to you as folks are coming in. I see you there. Send a shout out if you would. In February, we had Black History Month, which was really interesting. So I was asked by Akuye Karen Vargas, shout out to her, to come out and again cover that event. You had Black Student Union out there. You had a lot of different folks doing a lot of great things out there, and they also had a panel. And you can check that out on the Conduit as well because we were asked to broadcast it. And so one of the things that the panel was talking about were, I think it was kind of a conversation centered around women and their issues. And for some reason, Akuye called me to the front to be on the panel. So now I'm the only man on the panel, and I have some very controversial things to say. So if you want to see that, you should you should go and check that out. So it was definitely got fiery in there. The N-word got thrown out by someone in the audience, and that kind of dismantled the whole event. But it also created a talking point and an opportunity to have a discussion. So there was that as well. And so that happened in February, which was really interesting. Now, every February is G2's birthday. And so February 8th is our date. So our birthday is coming up here really quick. And we hope that you will celebrate with us. I believe are we turning 8 or 9? I think we're turning 9, right? 8? Is it 8? We're turning 8. Is that right? I don't have my award on the wall there. So we're turning 8. I'm being told we're turning 8 by one of the board members. So we're turning 8 years old this February, and we want you to come and help us celebrate. And the reason why we want you to come and help us celebrate is we moved. We are no longer downtown. We are now at 1300 Sylvan Avenue in Bremerton, Washington. Sylvan Way in Bremerton. We're right across the street from the library and the old WorkSource building, and we're on floor B, which is the basement. So if you come in from the Warren Avenue side, it's the first driveway. You can just walk up the stairs and you're right in there. If you go on the other side on the elevator, you're going to take the elevator down to the basement. But that's where we're at. So we're in the same space as New Day. And so we decided to work with them and come together, right? As I said, resources are drying up. COVID resources are drying up. Grants are drying up. And so we got to find a way to sustain because the need is growing, right? The need is doing this. The resources are doing this. So we got to find ways to keep on keeping on because the need is tremendous. And so now we're there. We started moving in July 1st, but we still don't even have our desk put together, and it is December 31st. So I just kind of let you know we have been just going and going and going. So trying to run for mayor, move from one building to the next, which we've been in the building downtown for 5 years. That was tough, right? And I didn't even get a chance to really do a goodbye, to the old building, and that's just the way that it was, right? Kimmy says, "I like that you speak about what you do. Many in Bremerton accuse me of only wanting accolades. Today, I was notified I've been awarded the ML King Community Service Award for Harborview Medical Center, University of Washington, 2026. All right, now hit the horn." My first thought wasn't positive. I immediately thought, now my adversaries will use this against me. I feel like we need to use our voice for good. So many are trying to bring us down. We need to normalize spreading good and encouraging others to do as well. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. one of the things I want to share with you is this. If you are struggling and something good happens to you, don't be afraid to show it. If you are doing well and good things happen, you've been working hard and good things are happening, don't be afraid to show it. You shouldn't be shamed. You shouldn't have to diminish your light because something good is happening. I thought that way for a while. And so it was really hard for me to post food food things like tonight. I posted, it's a tradition in Black households to, have black eyed peas and rice and bring that into the new year, right? And so we did that, and I cooked collard greens and cornbread and all that good stuff. And so I was like, oh, but there's so many people that, are food insecure and they're hungry and they don't have food and this and that. And so it's like, okay, I need to diminish my light and just kind of hold my own blessing and not put it out there. It's like, no, put it out there, right? Put that out there. One, it's you work hard, it's your life, it's your experience. You deserve your experience, right? You have a right to your experience. It is what it is. Two, maybe someone's looking at that and being like, yeah, I can do that. I want to do that. I'm working toward that. I remember where you were and I see where you are now. And that gives me some encouragement when I wasn't feeling encouraged. And then for others with Kimmy, who I'm sure people will say about her that she's a rabble rouser and a troublemaker and making things worse and she's not helping and this and that. But she didn't go out seeking this ML King Award. It was bestowed upon her because they saw the work, right? It is what it is. So recognize it. They could have given it to someone else. I'm sure there were some other candidates that were out there, but when they looked out at the field of people that were doing things, they saw that she was making one hell of an impact and it needed to be recognized. And so do celebrate that. And don't worry about what it is that they say. We really have to get to that point. I'm not worried about what you say about me. I'm going to do what I got to do. You're not paying my bills. You don't take care of my daughter. If my daughter gets sick, you're not going to be there to take care of her. If I get evicted, you're not taking me into your home. I don't care what you think. So do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your win. You deserved it. Again, emergency room nurse at Harborview, lives in Kitsap, commuting, and still has the bandwidth to be down on the block, being next to folks, listening to their story, taking them to get help, finding ways to get solutions, and posting, running videos. If all of us did some of those things, where would we be as a community? That's impressive. We need more like Kimmy, right? So shout out to Kimmy for that. Please, yeah, if you got accolades, if you're being acknowledged for the good work you're doing, put that out there. Put that out there. So like I said, we're at 1300 Sylvan Way. We're in the old WorkSource building across the street from the library. Please do check us out. We turn 8 years old in February 8th. And again, that's one of our things that we feel very blessed about, right? We were created in 2018, and then right at the tail end of 2019, COVID hit. We didn't know if we were going to keep the doors open. Very difficult to survive that. Not only did we do that, but we thrived through it. And here we are in year 8, right? With an organization that started in my home and that still operates there because this is where I'm at, right? Home is G2 Alpha is the house, right? And that's what it is. And again, it's one of those things that you can make a difference no matter who you are. You have something to offer. You probably have a lot of somethings to offer. So whatever it is, maybe it's time, maybe it's expertise, maybe it's resources, right? Whatever it is, it's important and it's all needed. You've got a toolbox and you need everything in that toolbox. You need the wrench, you need the pliers, you need the hammer, right? You need the nails, you need it all. You can't have a house without a roof. You got to have a door. You got to have windows, right? Got to have stairs. You got a second floor. You need it all. Kimmy says, I needed to hear that and thank you. You have given me a lot of helpful and essential advice many times. Thank you, Marwan. That's another thing. We are so deep in the work, so deep in the work, and we don't take our head up. And the fight is fighting. We're advocating. We're almost fighting like this. Remember when we were kids, that's how we fought? We're doing this. We're trying to make waves, right? And folks may see it and recognize it, give you an award, but other folks are trying to tear you down because you got the award, so you just keep on fighting. You can't even acknowledge the award. I was given the 2026 Martin Luther King Award from the hospital for the work that I've done. And I'm proud of the work that I've done. And I'm going to keep doing that work. Encourage each other. It's what I said about Obama a little while ago. Whatever you think about him, when he was in office, the support had to continue at the same veracity of getting him elected. That wasn't enough to get him elected, right? And unfortunately, two things happened. One, because folks fell off, right? Nothing got done. But then also at the same time, for those of you that are not happy with the things that he's done, as you do your postmortem on his presidency, I'm one of those folks that's been very critical of Obama. If you had been in his face and pushing as a group, then those things could have also happened. So it's both ways, right? Either you're not supporting or you're not pushing and saying, hey, what are you doing? You need to do more. You need to do this. You need to do this different. So once you say, oh, I elected him, that's it. I'm done. We got the funding for the shelter. Okay, that's it. It's done. If we get the reprieve and Salvation Army stays open till March, that doesn't stop anything. What do you think is going to do? What do you think is going to happen as FIFA comes to town come June, which is also around Juneteenth, right? Tourism, right? I'm sure our city does not want our unhoused to be seen. Something's going to have to happen, right? And the thing about a year is it goes by so fast. So when March 31st comes and the shelter closes and we look up and next thing you know, FIFA's here and we get through FIFA and we're, okay, FIFA's over. We're going to look up and it's going to be like, dang, it's about to be August. Dang, kids are back in school. Oh, shoot, it's getting dark again. It's starting to rain. It's October. Well, hell, it's wintertime again. What are we going to do about the shelter? So we can't stop. We got to keep going, right? We got to keep going. Man, we only got 11 minutes till New Year's. So glad that you guys are joining with me. Let me pull up some pictures. I definitely should have started way earlier. For some reason, Marwan had the idea, oh, I'll be fine. There's plenty of time, right? I don't have to worry about anything. But one of the big things that happened this year that I'm just so excited for, and I don't even have a good picture. There's so many pictures to show, so I'm just going to pull this up. So for those of you that know our group, have worked with our driver, Ernest Borka. He is one dedicated man who, when he started with us, just really just stepped up and has become a pivotal person for G2. And so much so that, you know, you can get to a point where, man, we can't do it without you. And he's one of those people. And I just want to say thank you to Ernest. But Ernest got married this November. So for all of you that know Ernest, Ernest tied the knot, hit the horn. Give a little applause there. And that is his beautiful wife, Lexi. And so we captured and documented the event. And just to show you how busy that it's been, I was supposed to put out these pictures on Facebook. This was November, and it's January here in 10 minutes, right? And so you haven't seen these pictures. You have not seen these pictures, and that's a travesty. And so you can see me and Monkey, me and Amanda, me and Jesse. Uh, one of my favorite pictures down here. You see Rob here, and here's a good one. You've got Ernest, you got Lexi, Stephanie, Rob, and Monkey, who was the best man. And so while we're doing the work, and again, Kimmy, as I was saying, we need to celebrate each other and acknowledge that things, our lives still go on at the same time. We are still humans. We are still people. We still get sick. We still have joys. We still have milestones in our lives. And we cannot serve others to the detriment to our own selves where we don't even exist, right? We are not required to sacrifice ourselves in that way. And so, Ernest is has made such a tremendous change and difference in so many people's lives through transportation. Uh, if you could just hear the stories and the testimonies from folks that he gives rides to. As you know, we give rides to folks that are in dialysis. We give rides to folks to the severe weather shelter, which was just open this week. We give rides to people that are going to medical detox, whether it's here locally, Tacoma, Oak Harbor, Spokane, Yakima. We're going, right? We get the call, we got to go because it's critical to get those folks to treatment when they're ready to tap out immediately. It increases their likelihood that they're going to make it through treatment successfully and continue forward in a successful way, right? And so Ernest has just done that. But one of the big ones is Ernest has done a lot of end of life care for many of our clients, which one passed away and didn't come to the wedding because her spouse had passed, and he transported both of them, Ernest, Rob, and a few others, but really had a really deep relationship with Ernest, and so didn't want to come to the wedding and be a Debbie Downer. And of course, like, no, you would never be that. Uh, but that impact of transporting that couple and then being there for the spouse that is now having to grieve and go through the process. And this isn't the first. We actually do quite a bit of end of life transport where a spouse or a loved one is going to visit uh, the 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 client, their loved one in hospice or in the hospital in their last days, and that's a very emotional uh, time, as you're getting ready to lose someone, especially if it's a life mate that you've had for a long time. Um, and so he does that, and he's on. So whether it's snow, whether it's hospice, whether it's a ride to work, whether it's a job interview, whatever it is, Ernest stands and he delivers. And so just want to say congratulations to him and his beautiful wife, Lexi, and I wish them a lifetime of happiness for sure. But that's a big deal, right? For us. And so that happened this year. So we're excited about that. Let's see. We moved. Ernest got married. I think those are probably the two biggest things for G2. We do have another big one. We were hired. So we've got Gather Together, Grow Together, and then we have the Conduit, and then we have the League of Black Male Voters. And all of those things are all G2, right? G2 Construction, our construction company, all these different things that we do. And so, this year we were hired to create a commercial. And so we created a commercial. And if you went down to see Film Cinemas, you got to see that commercial playing before the previews of all PG, PG and R-rated movies at C Film for 6 months. So stay tuned to see a commercial airing again this year that we've created. And so we're really excited and proud about that. And that's something that we hadn't done before, right? Again, as we're getting close here, we've got 5 minutes to the ball drop here. One of those things is, again, if you know the story, We never did podcasting, right? When we started G2, we were, doing concessions and we had people in the office and we're doing all these things. And when COVID hit, all of a sudden we had to shut our doors. And uh, at that time, we didn't know what was happening, right? Folks were dying. You remember the ticker that would be on the news, this many people dying per day, where everyone's scared as hell. We don't know what's going on or what it's going to be. And so that was a very scary time. And it was like, okay, how do we keep in touch with our volunteers and also keep in touch with our clients while our doors are closed? And so it was, well, let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and do we'll do YouTube and we'll do Facebook. And that's how the conduit started, right? And so now, after all these years, this is what it's become, right? And so it's become a hub for information. It's become a hub for fun. It's become a hub for connecting folks with resources, which is critical, and empowering people in a variety of ways. So whether it's broadcasting city council meetings, so you know what's going on in your city, if it's broadcasting, I mean, we've done funerals and weddings, uh, and you only get one time to do that, right? And this is the hardest time for people's lives, or the best time of people's lives, right? And so it's got to be right. And so trying to capture those things, groundbreaking for KCR. I did a groundbreaking for KCR, and Tony Ives contacted me. Shout out to Tony, executive director of KCR. And he was like, "Hey, do you have that footage?" I go and I give him the footage. He's watching the footage and he's choking up watching the footage. And he's like, he hadn't seen it, but then now thinking back to it, it's like, wow, and I got some really good footage, and people ended up being there that, he knew, who was there, but seeing them and hearing, what they had to say, just really powerful stuff. So kind of choked them up a little bit. So it's those things, right, that are so important. Whoops, we're going to just pause that there. I'm trying to get that ready for the ball drop here. So we have it. So we're doing all these things and covering all these events for folks and connecting that information. Again, that's a skill that was learned, right? It was a skill that you have a skill in something else, and then you apply it in a different genre or a different direction, and then you create something else from it, right? So I know what I was doing. I watched a bunch of YouTube channels, and voila, now your YouTube channel, right? And this is what it is. So, again, I just encourage you to do that. We're going to keep talking after the ball drop, but I do want to get this up here. Fair use, I should say that. Let me get this on up, and let me be the one. We'll go ahead and take the chats off so we get more of a full screen here for the ball drop. And we're almost there, y'all. We got 1 minute left. This says 2 minutes. Let's see. 121, 104. Try to speed this up a little bit. 58 seconds. 59. 50. All right, we're almost there. Thank you guys for tuning in and spending New Year's Eve with us again. Again, we want to give a different opportunity for folks. If 25 you felt wasn't your year, the thing is that you are still here with us. So 26, let's build on 25. Let's build on the good. Let's build on the bad. Eat the meat, throw away the bones. Be optimistic. Come together as a community. Use your skills. Use your voice. We're there. We're there. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Yeah! There we go. There we go. And I'm going to mute that because, they'll cut that off. But man, here we go. Happy New Year's, Happy New Year's, Happy New Year. Yeah. Kimmy says, Happy New Year. So glad I can call you my friend. Let's keep it going stronger than ever in 2026. Thank you. I'm proud to call you my friend as well. Let's keep up the fight. We're better together. Happy New Year's, y'all. I've got coffee here, which if someone were to make some more coffee for me, I wouldn't be mad. Yep, got my death wish. I don't have a death wish. I got a life wish. Let's go. 2026, January 1. There we go. You know what? I'm going to have to owe y'all a broadcast and continue to recap 2025. I got so caught up in talking about the unhoused, I didn't even get to May. I don't even think I got to May. So much stuff happened this year. We're moved. G2 is moved from downtown. So many years. That was really hard for us to do. That was Happy New Year, Kelly. It was very stressful, but we're moved out. We're in a new space. We've got new opportunities. Hey, Robin, Happy New Year. We're going to be cooking for our unhoused and our food insecure brothers and sisters on Thursdays. If you want to help us cook and feed, we're helping New Day out. So we're going to take over cooking on Thursdays. We're going to cook the meals, and they're going to serve dinner at 5, which is when they do it, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. at 1300 Sylvan Way. So G2 is jumping in. We're rolling up our sleeves, and that's what we're doing, right? There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. We were doing food service. They have continued on. Like I said in my post, what was that, Thursday? The Rev is like the postman, rain, sleet, snow. He's going to make sure that the community gets fed. And so we're going to roll up our sleeves and do that. So if you got some time on Thursday, we're going to start cooking at 9 a.m. at the Commercial Kitchen downtown, Bremerton. We're only going to be in there for a couple hours because we can knock it out in 2 or 3 hours. And then we'll come back at about 4:15 and set up for service. And then we're going to serve all the folks, which we serve upwards to 70 to 80 souls every Tuesday and Thursday. New Day does. And we're just going to keep that on so we can keep supporting their movement on the other side of the coffee there. So, yeah, if you got the bandwidth, hey, you're like, man, I can come and help you the first Thursday of the month. That's how we get it done. You don't have to come every Thursday. You don't have to stay from 9 to 12 and then come back from 4:15 to 6. You can say, hey, you know what? I can do Thursday on the first Thursday. I can do 9 a.m. because I'm an early bird. Thank you. To 12, but I can't come back at 4:15. Hey, you know what? That was a big help. That was huge. You helped us feed 70 to 80 people. You helped the mission continue to go, right? That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. So help us, help them. And that's really where it is. This year, shout out to the League of Black Male Voters. The gentlemen in that group are some really powerful black men. I'm very proud of them. You don't have to be a black man to be part of the league. You just need to be about our issues, the things that we're trying to put forward. And what we're about is talking about our issues, right? And things that impact us. And oftentimes you might be asking yourself, well, what impacts black men specifically? If you're even thinking about that, that kind of tells you why we need to exist, right? And so one of those things that I like to share with people, the NFL playoffs are getting ready to start. When the NFL players, your favorite players, are wearing pink, that represents what? Breast cancer awareness. Yes, absolutely. But black men die the most and are impacted the most by prostate cancer. So what is our color for prostate cancer, and what month Do we acknowledge that? When do you see our NFL players talking about that and pushing that through? And it's become so, I think ubiquitous is the wrong word, but so commonplace that when you see the pink on their cleats and on their wristbands and on their mouth guards, you know exactly what that is. You know that is breast cancer awareness for women. Where is it to where when you see that color, that you automatically know that it's prostate cancer for black men or just men in general? That's why the League of Black Male Voters exists, right? We all have our things when you look at who we are and how we define ourselves, where we feel that there are gaps in our things that we need, right? Our unhoused. That was a big conversation this evening. That also impacts black men disproportionately, right? And so that's important. So, but I want to shout out to them. One of the big things that I would like to encourage you to do is as things get tough, we're looking geopolitically at a number of wars and political instability. Uh, we know that our economy is going to take a hit here soon. And most of us have already experienced the hit, right? It's a foggy night, real hard to see the fireworks down there. Shout out to King 5 News for this coverage. Want to acknowledge that that coverage is coming from King 5 News. So things are going to be hard. Things are going to get hard. That said, you really need to be thinking about the barter system. What can you offer in time or services or products that you can exchange for living situation, right? Other resources that you need, other services or products that you need. That's what you want to do. So this year, I know that I'm a spoiled Brother Sam's Christmas present. He doesn't know. So Brother Sam sells a book on Amazon, and it's a book of poetry, Christian poetry. And this year, what I did was for those that I purchased gifts for, that's what they received, right? And so what that does is not only is it giving them something that I believe has value uh, and is going to keep providing value, but secondarily, it's helping someone that we know locally, and that's big, right? And so that's a way that we can start giving back to each other, right? You need a ride, you can call Uber, you can call a taxi, or you can call G2, 360-373-3000. Typically, we're probably cheaper than the cab or the Uber anyway. But on top of that, even if we were more expensive, and we really should be more expensive because of our primary goal of who we serve, right? We're serving folks, like I said, into life care, folks for dialysis, folks that are trying to get to treatment, people that don't have vehicles, folks that are trying to go to work. You would be surprised of the people that are labeled lazy and not trying hard enough and not wanting it hard enough, watching them uh, walk or find different ways to try to uh, get to work and get to where they need to go. But if you understand this county, you know how spread out it is. Oh, I got a job, but there's no bus that's running after that time. And unfortunately, I don't have any friends. I can't ride a bike that distance. Sorry, I just can't do it, right? It's too far away. It's 15, 20 miles. It's pouring down rain. Whatever the situation is, it's not a thing of them not wanting it hard enough. So it's like we tend to move the goalposts and say, okay, well, you're lazy. If you want it, you would work hard. Okay, I got the job, right? I applied for all these jobs, and this is the job that hired me. I couldn't get a job closer, and I can't live any closer because this is the only place that will allow me to live there. So this is where I live, and this is where I work, right? But now I have no way to get back and forth. I don't have a license. I'm on a suspended license, whatever. Well, I can't drive illegally because that's going to make my situation worse. I can't afford a car. That's an issue. Whatever the situation is. So then they're using a ride service and they're getting to work. And so we need to celebrate and elevate that, right? And acknowledge that they're doing what they got to do, which is a big deal. right? So that's one of those things, right? You need to go to the airport, consider using us. We are 24 hours a day, 365. Please do call with as much time as you can so that we can ensure you have a ride, right? And we can get you booked in. But, I typed that wrong there. 373-3000 is the phone number for G2 Transport. We do have wheelchair vans. Uh, Maybe you need to, like I said, go to the airport and it's a red eye. Yeah, we can handle that. We'll pick you up at your gate and bring you home. If time allows, you want to stop at Chick-fil-A because it's not open here in Bremerton yet. We'll stop over and you can pick up your Chick-fil-A if that's what you if that's what you're into. You know what I'm saying? Yep, we are. Yep. We all work tonight. 373-3000. Call for availability. Sadly, the severe weather shelter is not open tonight. Alexa, what is the weather tonight? Alexa, what's the weather tonight? Overnight, you can look for showers with temperatures around 38 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, it's 38 degrees. I told people to call you tonight if needed. Yep, please do. Yeah. And we definitely don't want folks drinking and driving. So if you don't have a DD, yeah, please give us a call. Please give us a call. We don't want to see you ruin your life or someone else's life. And we've seen a lot of accidents lately, and it's needless, right? There's an accident, and then there's preventable things. Getting behind the wheel, intoxicated. There's just don't do it. Don't do it. I say, don't destroy your life. Don't destroy the life of other people, just because you felt like you were good enough to drive. It literally is not worth it. And it feels like it. Like I hear people tell me, "Oh, I drive better drunk than sober, or I drive better high than sober." It's like you hear craziness, man. It's like, and they really believe that. Like, okay, but why take that chance? And what all often happens is people will say, "Oh, it's the devil," right? If you're a religious person, when you do try to get your life together and you're doing all the things, you're like, look, I finally got to a point in my life where I want to do the right thing. I'm getting up, I'm getting on the bus, I'm going to work, I'm going to meetings, I'm doing my things, I'm taking care of my responsibility. And then what happens? I do this one thing and boom, it dismantles everything else. And you're like, oh, it's the devil, right? Well, part of it is one, yes, when you try to do the right thing after not doing the right thing for a long time, or you really start to redouble your effort and try, karma, Murphy's Law, whatever you want to call it, right? The devil, those things are going to enter into your life and challenge you. Life is going to challenge you. Something's going to happen. Your car is going to break down. You're going to lose the job. You're going to get into a fight with your significant other. The kids are going to be driving you crazy. Something's going to happen, right? Your job is to fight through that. Your job is to fight through that. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Jose. Boom, boom, boom. Horn for Jose. Jose's been through a lot this year. He has suffered a lot of attacks, and you know what? But he's undeterred. He keeps on fighting the fight. I definitely appreciate that. Kimmy says, I see lives lost every day from alcohol and drugs. I've been telling everyone to call G2. And also, I think Kids Have Transit has free buses. Yes. If there are buses running tonight, use whatever you can use at your disposal. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And try to have that DD in place before you go out. Just be responsible. But yeah, those things tend to happen. And I know a lot of people are agreeing with me. The people in the room with me are nodding their head. Yeah, like, yeah. As soon as you try to do the right thing, it seems like something comes and happens. And it's like, oh. And then you start saying, well, why do I even try? Every time I try, then this happens and that happens. What's the point? The thing is there are some things that can you answer that? And just let them know I'm live. There are some things that we can avoid, and we can make choices that won't impact us in a negative way, right? It's that locus of control. the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to, uh, you know, change the things I can change, accept the things I can't, yada, 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 right? So let's do that. But yeah, shout out to Jose. Let me give him another shout out. Like I said, he is another fighter, highly educated individual, putting out a lot of information on Facebook, cutting up YouTube videos, connecting all the dots, doing a tremendous amount of research. I know he's awake right now, and if he is asleep, he'll be up here in about 30 minutes, working probably till 4 or 5 in the morning, trying to get documents and uncovering things and trying to explain to folks how things go. Kimmy says Jose is crucial, and that's it, right? When I was talking about that toolbox, right? The hammer, the wrench. If Kimmy is a hammer, then Jose is a wrench, and I'm a pair of pliers, right? And you are a screwdriver, right? We need all of the tools: the roof, the windows, the door, the walls. We need all of that. The kitchen, the bathroom. It's all of us together, right? It's all of us together. So what can you do? Well, you can amplify what Jose and Kimmy put out on Facebook. You can come down with Jocelyn and Kelsey and Dawn Michelle and Kimmy and come with the prayer rockers and feed on Sundays. Walk amongst the people, get to know who they are, understand their stories, try to connect them to resources. You can donate or volunteer with Anton, Northwest Hospitality. You can shoot up to the village over at Bailey's, who is doing a myriad of things, too many things, because the village has different entities in there doing things, right? Kids have Black student unions in there, right? There all kinds of stuff is happening at the village. Doc loves the kids. New Day, right? Salvation Army. There are so many. And most of these are individuals that had the temerity, that had the heart that said, I just want to do something. I just want to do something. I want to try to help. And it helps, right? So contact us, reach out, share a post, like a post, write your own post, write your city council, whatever it is. Yeah, and there's a lot of good people, right? And the thing is I'm only naming the heads of people. I'm not naming all of the volunteers that are with Reverend Stewart and Chantel. Shout out to Chantel, right? For New Day. There is at least, 24 volunteers with New Day? Their names don't get mentioned because he can't do it by himself. So we just name the heads. G2 isn't just Marwan. I can't tell you the last time I gave someone a ride. I haven't picked up anyone in a wheelchair van. I haven't picked up anyone in a 15-passenger van. I haven't taken anyone to Kent or Yakima or Tacoma. G2's operating. It's 365, 24 hours a day. I have to sleep. I'm asleep. The vehicles are on the road. We don't do it by ourselves. So we name an organization, we name a person, but there are people underneath there getting the work done. Yep, I saw that. Your page made 5,000 followers. Right. See what I'm saying? Now, imagine converting those followers to writing city council. 10% of them. Hell, 1%. You can get 50 of those people, 1%, to show up to city council meeting. It'll blow their mind. That might be hard to do, to get the 1%. But you might be able to get 10% to write a letter. That's 500 letters coming into city council. And once we identify, because I think that would be a real powerful thing to do, where they're at in Kitsap County, then it's like, hey, you know what? There's 300 voters in Bremerton, in District 4 alone. Did you vote? Oh, you didn't know? You agree with these things? Absolutely. That's why you're a friend on the page. We need you to get out and vote. We need you to talk to some other people that are like-minded like you, your family and your friends. Get them to vote. Your neighbor, because you live there, right? So my job, and I'm in District 4 with Jane. Jane is good, right? But if I was trying to say, hey, we need to have someone else besides the person that's currently in this seat, then my job would be like, yeah, I'm going to vote for another person if I'm not going to run myself. But then I'm going to go around to my neighbors and say, hey guys, we all want safe streets. We all want our own house taken care of. We all want XYZ. Can you please come and vote for this candidate? Because this candidate is for our interest in our neighborhood. And then all of a sudden, it's like, man, people are coming out in off ballot years and really, you see the numbers jumping up. We can do this. It truly isn't hard. You just have to believe. The biggest thing that they want you to believe is that you don't have power, you don't matter, your voice doesn't matter, and why try? That's their game plan. So please don't feed into that. Don't feed into that. But that's what they want you to believe. But I'm here to tell you that that is not true. Your voice matters. You're tremendously powerful. And when you realize that, they're going to be terrified. Because they're going to realize, oh man, they done woke up. They done figured it out. They done figured it out. And we have. And more of us figure it out every day. Every day. So here's one thing I wanted to show you as well. This is kind of weird. Okay. Let me go ahead and enlarge that. Kimmy says that, she was awarded this year. And I was awarded this year as well. September 20th of 2025, I got the Community Service Award from the NAACP. And I don't think I've said this in mass. I've just said this to a few individuals. I actually don't like accolades, right? It's like, it feels weird to get acknowledged to do the work that you believe that you should be doing, right? So I was going to decline this actually and just say, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm honored, but I don't think that I should be given the award, being awarded for the work that I do, right? Matter of fact, when we were walking to our car after it was over, I was telling Tara Simmons just that, right? That I didn't feel like I deserved the award. And she said something to me, but a lot of people said some things to me. And part of that is, one, it is important that we acknowledge people that are doing the work. Too often in this country, and worldwide, doesn't matter. Look at social media. We acknowledge the most debaucherous, most negative, sometimes evil things. And we uphold these folks and these activities and actions, and they do not serve our community outside of entertainment, right? And so if we have folks that are trying to make a difference in our community, then acknowledge that. It is important. There is a space for it. I think it needs to be measured. It shouldn't be a thing where it's just this big gala and it's just this big party and all people do is just pat each other on the back and it's a circle jerk. I don't think it should be that at all. But I do think it is important that you acknowledge people that are doing the work. I mean, you just said it, you just looked at it earlier, right? Kimmy's like, thank you for saying what you said because I was feeling some kind of way, right? So even though she's doing the work, she's not doing it for the award. There's no money that comes with it. I didn't get $10,000 or $1 million because they received this award. That sure would have been nice, right? So at the end of the day, it's a piece of crystal that sits in my office. I mean, it serves no purpose. So at the same time, it's to say, you know what? It's up to us. If we value police and firefighters and teachers, and we say that these people are so vital and they're underpaid, then it's got to be up to us to flip the script and acknowledge them and put them on a pedestal. Our first responders, right? They were heroes during COVID. Now they're crap, right? It's up to us to do that. And so it's up to us to also accept it, right? And acknowledge it. So within as long as it's for me, because it's difficult, I would ask that if you're thinking about trying to award me for something, if you want to give it to the organization, so be it. But for me, I'm just doing what I think God has told me to do. So I don't need any acknowledgement on that. But it is sustaining for people. And oftentimes it's not just for the person that's receiving the award, it's for the other people. Because I couldn't receive this if it wasn't for all the people at G2 and the conduit and the league that helped to get the work done, right? Because, yeah, okay, I sit on the board for the library and I sit on the board for Salvation Army and I'm on the audit committee and I do this and I do that. But I'm able to do those things because I have a team of people that I trust and rely on that can do those other things that allow me to do those pieces. I can run for mayor, right? I can't do any of those things if I don't have a team behind me that is allowing me to do those things. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helpful. And acknowledge each other. Celebrate each other. You deserve to be celebrated. And if you do get celebrated, then you know what? Hold that thing up high. Be proud of it. Be proud of it. Because most of your work goes unseen, unpraised, and oftentimes vilified. You're actually vilified for the good work. Can you imagine that? And that's what Kimmy is facing, which is tragic. But anyhow, let me get off of this soapbox here. Like I said, it is our birthday. We're going to turn 8 years old here in about a month and 7 days. So stay tuned for our celebration of G2 turning 8 years old. Again, if you're looking for transport tonight and you're trying to be responsible, please call 360-373-3000. Sorry, I got I'm fat figuring the number again. I think it's my keyboard. I'm going to blame it on the keyboard. Because I should proofread before I hit enter, right? It's the keyboard. G2. All right. And again, find ways this year to help others. Even as you are, Happy New Year, Dawn. Even as you are, Happy New Year's, Martita. Even as you are struggling yourself, right? While you're trying to make the changes in your life, while you're trying to figure it out, trying to hey, Happy New Year's, Jeff. While you're trying to wait for the paint to dry, while you're trying to wait for the water to boil, you're waiting for that ID card to come in, the Social Security card to come in, that opening at Oxford to open up, whatever it is that you're waiting on. If you're giving back to people, it'll help to not only make the time seem like it's going a little bit faster, but it will empower you. It will empower you because you still have power to affect change on yourself and others in your community in a positive way. So I encourage you to do that. Speak to folks. When I'm in Walmart, I say hi to people all the time, just total strangers. Sometimes they just, other times, a lot of times they're surprised. They're like, you talking to me? Like, yeah, hey, how you doing? Oh, hi. Because they're just so surprised. They're so in their world. But we're neighbors. If we have an earthquake here, if we have some type of natural disaster, we're going to be asking for help and we're going to be needing help from each other. So wouldn't it be better if we already knew who each other was and we already had a relationship with each other? And I think it's a lot harder for us to allow folks to languish, unhoused, suffering, if we have relationships with each other, if we know them, if that's our brother, our sister. It's not harder for us to kind of turn a blind eye to that. And again, even if it's, hey, you know what? They brought it on themselves. They put themselves in this mess. They got to get themselves out. It is still, for you fiscal responsible hawks out there, it's cheaper to educate than incarcerate. It's cheaper to house than to have them being policed and using those services in our fire department, and them using our hospitals as their primary care provider. It's cheaper, even if you look at it from that lens. But we have it. We can do it. We know that we have not done the work yet to be ready for another pandemic should it hit. Now, our emergency management team, shout out to Dave Rasmussen and those out there at the county, right? They do their workshops and things like that. I attended quite a few of them this last year. But we're not ready. We weren't ready when COVID hit. We're not ready for the next one. It's almost like we forgot about it. It's like COVID didn't even happen. But we need to get ready and we need to stay ready. Hard times are coming for more people. Hard times are already here. And the resources are dried up. Salvation Army staying open is if it happens, is a 11th inning save, miracle, 11th hour. But that money is gone. That money's not going to be there next year. And winter is coming again. It's always coming. Summer is coming. Being unhoused in the summertime is not good. Being unhoused in the wintertime is not good, or in the spring or in the fall. It's just not good. And as more jobs are lost or not even created because they're not needed due to AI, we're going to have many of our children that are in elementary, that are in junior high, that are in high school, that are getting ready to graduate. My daughter's a freshman. What job is going to be there for her locally that she's going to be able to afford $1,000 per room on average rent here in Kitsap County? What job? She loves Defy, so right now she wants to get a job at Defy. I was like, baby, Defy ain't going to pay the rent. You and 6 of your friends going to have to work at Defy, girl. She shouldn't have to leave the city she grew up in because she can't get a job that will pay her rent, right? Military isn't for everyone. College isn't for everyone. So what is it? We love these folks now, and then they get out on the street, and then we hate them. They're a scourge. What do we need to do? Because that number's growing. And it's heartbreaking for many of us. It's even more heartbreaking when you get to know them. But it is a real tear your heart out your chest when you knew them before, and now you see them there. We want to decrease the numbers across the board. I don't want to see anyone unhoused, but I damn sure don't want to see someone who was stable now finding themselves unhoused and needing resources. I see former students at OC all the time that are coming in and needing help. Men, women, children, their families. It's tragic and preventable. Much of it is preventable. So as Dawn said, and Martita, wishing you much health, blessings, and success on every project for 2026. Martita, if you are still on, I do owe you a phone call. I will reach out to you soon Uh, I've just been waiting for something. So I hope that gives you a little idea. I can't spoil it. I'm not going to say anything else, but I have been I've been waiting on something. I think it's a couple more days, but I will reach out to you. Do know that there's something happening, something good. Yes, I do love you all. I appreciate you all for all the work that you've done, for all of you that have supported me through 2025 and even before then. But I met so many of you during 2025, and so I appreciate you. I appreciate your trust and your support. And I hope that my plan is to continue doing what I always do, and that's it. Uh, I yep, stay tuned, Martita. It's so close. It's so close. But yeah, I can't tell you. I want to snitch on myself. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be good. I'm not saying anything. So just give me a couple more days. But anyway, yep, Jeff, God bless you. And thank you for all the work you do. Everyone is saying such great things about the shelter out there in Port Orchard and how wonderful it is. I mean, the fact that they have pets. I mean, I can just go on and on about the shelter out there. So we're just really appreciative of all the people doing the work. Thank you for all of your support. Understand you are not alone. Get involved. And again, the best way to do that is you're like, hey, I tell one last quick story. I had a person that came to get a turkey dinner at New Day. And so she comes to get the turkey dinner and she comes in and she's waiting and she's got to wait for her ride. So she gets dropped off. She's got to wait an hour for a ride. And you're homesick. Okay, you lost your voice. No worries, no worries. And so she's waiting for a ride. And so I'm kind of talking to her. And so New Day wanted me to come and do a commercial for them. So I'm in there recording. And she's just talking about what God has done for her and that she feels like it's her season now and that, God is telling her to be used, right? To make herself available to help out. And so oftentimes we as service providers will hear that, but we're in the middle of doing the work, right? And it's like, I'm here to help if you need anything. It's like, no, we got it. We're okay. Because you're in the midst of it, right? And it was like, you know what? I heard you. And I've got presence of mind today. You know what? If you want to do this, why don't you hold the camera and you do the interviews? And she's like, what? But she was like, yeah, okay. Well, God said to use me. And I guess I put it out there. And it was like right now, right? But it was that engagement and having that conversation, right? And so she does that. And now I'm recording her. Now, let me tell you how God works in my life, how powerful he is. So I'm doing the recordings. But now she's doing the interviews instead of me doing the interviews. Well, the camera that I was using originally ended up being really grainy for some reason. I don't know if it was the light bulbs in there or whatever. But because I was recording her recording the interview, that footage is crystal clear. So by engaging with her and hearing her and allowing her to serve while she was receiving resources, it ended up helping me. Indirectly in that way, right? But two, it empowered her. So after that gets done, she tells me some other things, like she had seen me at another church. She had voted for me for mayor. I had no idea who this person is, right? Didn't remember her at all. And so we're talking more and more and more. And I get her background and get her story. And it's like, whoa. Well, we are teaching a course called Positive Action, and this course is for the youth, and it empowers them to, with their relationships, how to say no, right? They've got a friend, and the friend maybe wants to vape or drink alcohol or, just do something they know they shouldn't be doing, right? And we know as kids, you can't just tell your friends, no, I don't want to do that, right? Because they're going to tease you or they may cut you off or whatever. The peer pressure is real. Even adults experience peer pressure. And so we want to give youth, our kids, tools to say no in a way that doesn't compromise them, right? And oftentimes it's easy for us to tell a kid, well, just say no. And it's like, okay, yes, mom, yes, dad. And then they get in that situation and they can't do it. and we know they can't do it, right? And then we get mad at them, and then we wonder why they succumbed, or now they're not coming to us and they're not being honest with us because they couldn't do what we told them to do. So if we can give them some other tools where they can maintain that relationship with that friend and still not do that activity, then that would be more empowering, right? And maybe they even encourage that friend and save that friend. So, like with Layla, it's I'm an athlete, so I don't want to put these things in my body, right? If you want to do that, you do you, but I got to keep my my body in tip top shape because I'm running track and I'm a gymnast and I'm playing basketball and I'm doing all these things, right? I don't want to disappoint my dad. I don't want to disappoint my mom. You know how my dad is. I wouldn't be able to hang out with you if I got caught doing that, right? We give them some tools that they can use, right? We'll find out that she was a former teacher of youth. So, we got her credentials and all that good stuff. And she's going to be one of our facilitators of the workshop. So here she is saying to God, "Hey, I'm to a point in my life now where I want to be used. I'm ready. I'm in a space where I'm healthy enough to help serve others," right? And then she comes and she articulates that out. And then she articulates it to someone that can hear it and receive it and say, "You know what? Okay, let's go. I got you. Let's do that." So I tell that story to say, wherever you see yourself in that story, and you probably see yourself in both sides, engage, help out. You don't know what that can turn into. And that's not a voluntary gig. That's actually a paid gig. So she's going to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just a blessing, right? Just a blessing after a blessing after a blessing. So, we make the difference. We are the difference. We are powerful, and we are more powerful together. I love you all. Please have a good 2026. No stinking thinking. Have a positive attitude. Keep the fight going. Find like-minded people. Understand you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people that have clothing closets. There are people that are doing food programs. There are people that are doing all these things. Just come on and jump on board, right? Martita says, "I completely agree with you, Marwan. God finds the way to put things together to support people and serve others and support each other." Jeff says, "When you see the moment, plant the seed." There you go. You heard it from them, right? And these are some of the folks that you see that are tirelessly working. Tirelessly working. These are the folks where I look at them and I say, I don't know where you get the energy because I got to go and take a nap, right? Anyway, from the Conduit, from G2, from the League of Black Male Voters, from Cameron Management Services, from G2 Construction, from myself, from the people here in this household, we love you. We thank you. We look forward to serving you in 2026 and seeing you come alongside and seeing you do the work that you do in your own spaces. All right. This is The Conduit. I am Marwan Cameron. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you throughout the year.